Welcome to Gemara Academy. In this class, we will learn Tosfos Dibra Maschel Shtaim Shen Arba Bifnim. Let's begin with a general outline of Tosfos. Our Mishnah says Yitzias LaShabbos Shtaim Shen Arba Bifnim Ushtaim Shen Arba Bachutz. Tosfos will present two explanations for Rashi of how to interpret the word Bifnim and how to interpret the word Bachutz, and he'll agree with one of those explanations and he'll question the other. Let's see Tosfos now in the flowchart. So our Mishnah says Yitzias LaShabbos Shtaim Shen Arba Bifnim Ushtaim Shen Arba Bachutz. Says Tosfos, the explanation that Rashi gives over here seems to be the correct explanation. Rashi over here says the way to read the Mishnah and translate the Mishnah is as follows: Shtaim Shen Arba. There are two cases that are for Bifnim, for the person Bifnim on the inside, which is the Baal Bayis, and Shtaim Shen Arba Bachutz. There are two cases that are for Bachutz, for the person standing on the outside, the Oni. Now Tosfos continues and says, in Shavuos Rashi explains it differently. He says that Bifnim and Bachutz don't refer to the person that's standing Bifnim and the person standing Bachutz, but rather to the act of carrying Bifnim and the act of carrying Bachutz. And the Mishnah is read as follows: Yitzias Shabbos, carrying on Shabbos, Shtaim Shen Arba Bifnim are two cases that are for of Hachnasa Pnim, carrying inwards, Hachnasa, and Shtaim Shen Arba Bachutz, and two cases that are for of Bachutz, carrying outwards of Eitzah. That's Tosfos regarding this explanation of Rashi and Shavuos, that it doesn't seem to be correct, because if we look at our Mishnah divides the cases of the Ani and Baal Bayis. First we say it's on Achnasa of the Ani, then we say it's on Achnasa of the Baal Bayis. Then we say the case where the Ani extended his hand, inward, and those two cases, then two cases the Baal Bayis extended his hand outward. According to this explanation that Rashi gives over here, the division shouldn't be between Ani and Ashir, Ani and Baal Bayis, but it should be divided between Hitzah and Achnasa. So if the words Pnim and Bachutz mean for the person B'fnim and the person Bachutz, then it's appropriate to divide it between the person B'fnim and the person Bachutz. But if the words Pnim and Chutz refer to carrying Pnim and carrying Chutz, then the cases should have been presented, all the cases of Achnasa together and all the cases of Hitzah together. We should have said, in other words, it'll present it here, we should have said first, let's say for example, Achnasa, the poor man carrying in, and then the rich man carrying in, and then the poor man carrying out and the rich man carrying out. That's how it should have been written. Says Tosfos, however, regarding this question, we could respond, maybe he placed them together to make the Mishnah shorter. In other words, it's a lot shorter to present first the cases of one person and then the other, rather than alternating back and forth. The poor man Achnasa, the rich man Achnasa, the poor man Hitzah, the rich man Hitzah. It's a lot easier to say poor man, all of his cases, and then rich man. Like we'll see over here, the poor man carrying in or carrying out. The rich man carrying in or carrying out, or carrying in. So this is a lot shorter. Therefore, the question that Tosfos asks, that if Pnim and Chutz meant Achnas and Eitzah, it should have put the cases of Achnas and Eitzah together, we could respond and say that then the Mishnah would have to write a greater length, and the Mishnah always wants to be shorter. So maybe Pnim and Chutz do refer to Achnas and Eitzah, and the reason it wasn't categorized, the cases of all Achnas together and all the cases of Eitzah together, is because it's easier and shorter to categorize it by the Ani and the Baal Bayis. However, Tosfos does present a different question in this interpretation from Rabbeinu Elchanan, and that is that later on our Gemara proves that the word Yitzias, although it sounds like Hitzah, also includes Achnasa. And the Gemara says, how do we see this? Look at our Mishnah. It says Yitzias HaShabbos, and then immediately what does the Mishnah present as its first case? Pashat ha'ani yasyadi lefnim v'nasan l'seich yadish Baal Bayis. That the Ani extended his hand inwards and put something into the hand of the Baal Bayis, a case of Achnasa. So you see that Yitzia, which sounds like Eitzah, also includes Achnasa. Now if the word Pnim and Chutz referred to Achnasa and Eitzah, the Gemara would have brought a much better proof, an earlier proof. Instead of waiting till the case is presented, it would say, look at the words of the Mishnah. Yitzias HaShabbos, which sounds like Eitzah, Shtaim Shen Arba, two that are four, Pnim of Achnasa. Look, Eitzah includes Achnasa. It would have brought that proof, which comes from an earlier word in the Mishnah, than from the proof that only comes a little later on, after it says Shtaim Shen Arba Bachutz. And it says Ketzad, Ha'ani Eimed Bachutz, Baal Bayis B'fnim. And then we have the case of Pashat Ani Yasyad Lefnim V'nasan L'seich Yadish Baal Bayis, that the Ani did the act of Achnasa. It would have brought an earlier proof, so from there we see that the word Pnim does not refer to Achnasa. So to summarize Tosfos, we presented two explanations of the word Pnim and the word Chutz. Either it means the person B'fnim and the person B'chutz, or it means the act of carrying in B'fnim and the act of carrying B'chutz. And the second explanation Tosfos didn't like. He presented one question which he responded to, he said could be answered, but then he presented a second question that there's no answer to.